Alright, firstly, Rvms Shake is out now, so go stream that if you have not yet. We had some technical issues while making this podcast, so the audio is not 100%, and it cuts out at the end, but it's still a dope conversation. I think you guys will enjoy it. So, yeah, appreciate you guys always, thanks for checking it out, and yeah, enjoy.
Good evening, homies. Welcome to the first and only ever episode of the Rvms Podcast. We're based up in the beautiful city of Toronto, and today I have some very special guests to talk about a special album coming out. My brothers, Animation and Kaiza.
Bring on back on the mic stand. Alright.
My guy called it an album. That's straight there. Fuck.
You call it album?
Yeah. It's alright, though. Just put it on my headphone. I'll make sure I won't call it. Oh my god, I'll just call it Project. Okay, put it on my headphone.
Well, we shouldn't have one yet.
You should.
You said not to touch them until we start.
Well, Kai already did it, and we're already rolling. Yeah, man. I'm keeping all of this in.
Yeah. This is how she goes.
That's how she goes, bud.
Oh, that was smooth.
How's your day?
It's pretty good. It's alright. We're back here for a second time.
Yeah. Complications
Again,
the first time, but
you know how that shit go.
It's the Toronto lifestyle. Kai, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. I'm very good, sir.
Glad to hear it.
Always well. Driving's always nice.
Yeah,
Kai
drive back and forth.
I had to make a few trips.
Alright. So, first off, who are you?
I'm Animation Raps. I'm a vocalist and writer, music writer.
I'm Kaizen. I'm a producer and a musician.
Very nice. Obviously, you guys have known each other for a long time. How long now? Like 5 years?
Decently long.
Yeah.
I don't know how old are we now, bro? Shit. Like 5 years.
I'm gonna be
About that.
I'm
We're
20.
like 15, 16-ish.
Yeah.
Now we're in our early 20s. You're just turning 20?
Yeah, I just turned 20.
22. Turning.
Yeah, damn, that's a long time.
21 and 3/4.
How'd you guys meet, first of all? Like,
So our government names are actually 2 letters off of each other's. Yeah, and we went to the same high school, so like we would get called down to the office, like one of us, and our names just sound the same, so we would both go down to the office.
Yeah.
That's actually how we met. We just be like, yo, was it me or you? Yeah, the dead ass.
that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it's funny because we're bare like too. Like it's just weird. Like our name, first and last names are 2 letters off altogether. It's weird.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah,
was it?
that was pretty much it.
That was probably a Thursday. Oh, probably equal,
That's fair.
even amount.
So obviously we're here to talk about the new project coming out soon. What's the name of it?
Rear Mirror Shake. It's an EP dropping this spring. It'll be out before the summer.
Nice. And how'd you guys come up with the idea for it?
That's just wavy.
Because it is a collab project, fully produced by Kai. No features, nothing. Just you and Kai.
Yeah, I mean, we just came about it because we've worked together for like a while now. We've been making music together since both of us basically started. Like Kai was making beats and I started recording vocals at his house, I think. And, I mean, we kind of went back and forth between each other's cribs, but again, we started making music together. So I feel like after having made music for the last like 4 or 5 years, we just kind of decided now we've developed our sound to a point that we can create something like together, and we can make something that meshes our sounds in a way that kind of makes our own sound, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, and like Kai's probably who I work with most closely because he engineers all my music and stuff as well. So
Nice. So, obviously, been working for a long time. New project coming up. What's different this time?
The sound quality. Like everything's finally like where it needs to be. We can listen back to it all and just be like, yo, like this shit actually slaps now. Which is, that was a mission and a half itself. Because like, we're both caught up in life stuff. Didn't really like, school's a different route to take to like try and learn how to figure out like where your sound should be. But like there's also just trial and error. So we kind of just like threw ourselves at it, trying to have more fun with it rather than like create it as like a job.
Facts. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like up to this point, it was kind of a learning experience. But now we've developed our sound and shit to a point that we're like confident in it, and we think it's music that's good enough to actually be like listened to by people. And I think it's music that can be on the charts. It's just that kind of music at this point. It's at that level. It's at that kind of sound quality. And for any artist, they'll tell you, I'm sure, that they have to like learn a lot about the industry and making music before what they're making is at a point where they actually like it, right?
Yeah, I hear that. So obviously it's been a while since you dropped a project. It's been almost 2 years now since Balance dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny because I recorded Balance at a studio where I paid for time and I paid for mixes and I paid for an engineer because, even Kai at that time wasn't at the point yet of being comfortable with mixing and engineering all my music and stuff. But again, now we're at the point where like we're comfortable with just making our music on our own. Like we don't we rely on anybody else.
Mm-hmm. So obviously it's been a while since the last project. Balance was 2 years ago. So last year we spent all of our time on singles and everything. So you've obviously changed a lot with your music style. What's going to be the biggest difference between this one and Balance?
Well, like since this is like the Kai project, it's all produced by Kai. I built the sound of this whole project around the production, I feel like, and Balance was a lot more built around the lyrics and like the writing. So it's not to say that the lyrics aren't still going to be meaningful or like, it's not that I didn't put thought into the lyrics of this project. It's just that the lyrics maybe came more from the production than Balance, whereas Balance would have, the lyrics came from wherever they, from my inspiration, and then I guess the beats were kind of inspired after that, right? So I guess this is production based, that was more lyric based.
I hear that.
Yeah, straight slappers. Straight slappers.
Kai, what's the biggest difference for you? Because obviously being a producer is very different from being an artist. So Cam can switch up his flow and his style, but when Cam hit you up asking about this project, how did you prepare yourself to, make an entire project, engineer an entire project, mix an entire project?
I wanted to make something that like slapped for him on stage so he could curate his own vision for like sitting on a stage in front of people, something that just got people turned out, that was like a little bit different than majority of music that could be listened to. I like my shit to be a little bit faster. I like it to be exciting, and I like to fill lots of drums into my spaces. And sometimes I don't really like to stay with one melody for the entirety of the song. Like I try to change like feeling throughout songs with like keeping like an original theme. And I found that Cam like could adapt to the themes that I was trying to put down in the feel of the music and then write a story with it.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that, for sure. In terms of when you're working with other artists, like say you make a beat for Nemo, Cardi, Prada, any of those people versus you're making a beat for Annie, what's the biggest difference there?
Yeah, they all have their own sound. You feel me? No one really likes to stick to. Everybody has their own vision that they want to put forward. So for Cam's sound, I found like that was just the music that was forefronted in my head that I wanted to hear, and Cam was trying to curate. So for other things, like felt like it just kind of fell out. Like you feel me? They all heard the beats. They all heard like what could have been done with them. But Cam was like, yo, I want to organize these in like this arrangement. And I was like, okay, like I could see how that worked. And then like he asked me for like a 1-2 touch on like how we could make them like flow into one another and stuff like that. And besides that, like I was just, everybody heard the music. It was just a matter of Cam wanted to do something with it.
Nice. Obviously, I've heard all of the tracks, and for sure you guys both killed it on this one. This is by far the best project, and it is a little bit different though, because when it came to most likely to drop a mixtape of Balance, you said that the lyrics were the main focus of it, obviously.
Yeah.
This time you kind of let the production speak for itself. So, I guess rolling up to this, what was the difference in your mindset? Because rolling into Balance and most likely to drop a mixtape, you're obviously trying to prove yourself, throw big words out there and shit like that. Because it's your first EP, right? So now you're 3 projects in, changing up your whole style. Just dropped, 4 singles last year. What can people expect from you that they haven't seen before?
Again, just like the sound quality, the music we're producing now, I feel like I'm comfortable with showing anybody and being like, yo, this track's gonna slap, like you're gonna like it. And I don't really care who it is, I just feel like anybody I sit down and show the music to, they're gonna enjoy it. You know what I mean? And I think it was a lot more challenging for me to make too because I was basing again like my work and my writing around like somebody else's work. Like I was working with Kai, and again, not that it's hard to work with Kai, but to like base my sounds around somebody else's sounds and creations, it's like a little bit different than just being like free range on my ones. Man wants to smoke. But yeah, again, like it's a little more challenging to work with other people, I find in general. Maybe that's just me, but just to like collaborate your sound with other people, because again, you're not just free range to like do your own stuff in your own lane. But I feel like I make better music that way, especially with Kai, because like he said, when we're recording the music and stuff, he's giving me like advice and things to throw in and different things to try. And while I'm in the booth kind of thinking like it sounds weird or like I'm like frustrated like trying it out and stuff, it always sounds better in the end because it's like another set of ears or advice.
Yeah, no really like stop a vibe or like idea. You just like throw them at each other really quickly. And then it just keeps us so like there's less thinking and more doing like involved with stuff. And the same goes for me when I'm making beats. Or if I'm making a project, like if Cam's next to me and it's just like nah, yes, more, less, and then it just like it goes a lot quicker to try and throw a vibe out. It just like it feels more organic when you're making music and it just kind of like falls into place and then like you're left with like your lump sum of ideas and then you can like condense those ideas into something that is like makes sense. You feel me?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we talked about you guys knowing each other for a long time. You guys are very used to how each other work to the point where you've made an entire project together. But you two are very different, like different things. How's the energy in the studio when you guys were filming this?
When we were filming this movie, it's crazy.
Yeah, movie was next.
And directing.
Movie was next.
Those are awesome. When we were recording the project, the energy in the stew was always super lit. The homies came to a few of the sessions. I feel like that helps, to be honest, because again, the more ears you have and the more voices you have giving advice or saying stuff's hype or bringing energy to the table, like just the more energy you have up in the studio. But then there's also like the sessions more towards the end, I guess, where it just has to be me and Kai and it's just more locked in, like again in that like work sense of just trying to like collaborate our sounds and creatively work together to like put the finishing touches on stuff and make sure everything actually sounds right. Versus just like again like the sessions near the start are more you're just having fun, you're recording the music, like you're making the bangers and you're hearing it recorded for the first time and laid down. So I feel like the like sessions again like they always start off more fun and then they get more like work oriented towards the end, but they're always enjoyable, man. Like that's why I like doing this stuff and that's why I want to do it, because even when I'm working and even when I'm stressed out or I'm have a million different things going on with the music stuff, like if I'm always enjoying it and I know I'm always doing it by choice. Like I don't have to make music, right? We don't have to do this, but we do it because we love it. So it's always good, And again, even when shit happens or like you get frustrated with stuff, like at the end of the day, we're choosing to do it. Like we like doing it.
Yeah. What about you, Kai? Obviously, you work with a different artist like every day, basically, kind of thing. Like for a producer, it's never going to be the same energy. So, is producing for Cam an entire project over like 3 months a difficult task?
You'd be surprised, like, it's honestly not. Because it's more or less, like, I have an idea of a couple different, like, genres of, like, hip-hop music that I want to curate, and then Cam has his own idea of what he wants to curate as well. And, like, one of those aspects just kind of fits with it whatsoever. So just for the time being, it was just, like, a really easy, like, fall-together kind of feeling. Didn't really have to force much. And then there was a 1-2 actually that had to be, like, I had to think a lot more for, which was, like, our intro project and outro project, because Cam wanted it to be, like, a little bit slower, a little bit, like, more relaxed to, like,
Again,
lead into it.
That's where you get to the end and you're kind of, like, starting to wrap things up and shit, and you need to, like, curate the sounds to all come together and make sense, right? Or else you're just, again, if you're just slamming a bunch of music together, I guess it's a project, it's music put together, but to make actual art, you actually have to put thought into it and, you know what I mean? Again, curate what you're creating, like.
Yeah, and I ended up, instead of, like, I kind of took, like, what he wanted and then did, like, my own little spin on it and made it, like, a little bit faster than what I thought he was talking about, and then, like spaced out drums a bit more in some parts, and then like made the tempo a little bit faster, so it felt like open, but it was actually faster, so like it felt exciting. Like that's what I liked about it, and honestly, it sounded like dorky enough to like kind of like tie in a little like fuck you at the beginning of like the album. You feel me? That's what it felt like to me. It was just like, hey, what's up, bitches?
Yeah, it's funny too because working like together, there's a lot of stuff that you don't agree on, but it allows you to agree on like I don't know something in the end if that makes sense. So like Kai could send me like 4 beats and he's like, yo, the second beat's the best beat, and I'm like, yo, like second beat's pretty hard, and then I get to the third beat, I'm like, bro, third beat's the best beat, 100%. And then from that you can kind of create something that is like a mix of the two, right? And then again you're curating your sounds, you're mixing them together. So it's kind of interesting in that sense too, where like you can send like Kai can send me a beat and be like, surefire, this is gonna be his favorite, and then I'm like, no, this one is my favorite by far. And then again we can like just work on it and keep like thinking about shit and mixing it up, right?
It's actually funny because he does the same thing.
Same
to
with
me.
pictures, yeah.
I sent him photos and I'm like, the second one is by far like the dumbest picture I've ever taken.
I'm like, nah, I'm not posting that one. You can have that one.
Or like, do you remember the TTC ones that we did with like the blue lights and shit over him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one was so dumb hard. Like, he sees one in front of him,
like
in front of a Lambo that
I remember that one. That's the one that you put up.
Yeah. And he's like, nah, this one's the hardest. I'm like, bro, no, it's not. Like,
they're all pretty sick.
But again, that's why it's interesting working together because one person
with you,
thinks this, another person thinks that. The people that are looking at our stuff are gonna think completely different. But at the end of the day, we know everything we're making is solid. Like people are fucking with it in different ways. Different people are liking it, enjoying it. So
yeah, at least you guys are honest to each other too. You know, there's no bullshit in the studio.
Yeah,
nah,
yeah,
no time for that.
No time.
Obviously, there's no features on this project. Is that a conscious decision?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first project released with no features.
Are you trying to turn into J. Cole?
What?
Yeah. Double platinum features. No, but yeah, I feel like making music at first too, it helped me a lot. Like it still does to have people in the studio and around us and whatnot, you know, influencing the sounds and stuff. But at the start, it was almost like it's not that I couldn't complete a song by myself, but it didn't feel as complete as it can now in terms of the fact that like maybe if I was rapping really hard on a track, I didn't know how to come on it melodically. So somebody like Cardinal could come and help me with like, you know, a melodic hook, and then that gives the track like the contrast that it needs. Whereas now I feel more confident in just being able to make songs individually in like my own voice. And you know, I can be singing low on a track, I can be rapping fast, but then I can also be singing on the same track and singing high and being melodic. So it's like the mixture of those things, being able to do it by myself makes me feel like I don't need other people as much as like a crutch, I guess, in that sense. So I'm kind of trying to show that on this project that I don't need other people necessarily. I still love working with other people. I love collaborating with people. Like that's one of my favorite parts about making music. Like you know, all the homies and all the people around me, and again, working on features with new people and shit like that. That's some of my favorite stuff to do. So I don't mean in any sense that I don't want to do that, but it's also just like, you know, like you said with J. Cole, like he went double platinum, no features, and everyone still talks about it, right? Like
100%, yeah. I hear what you're saying. It's definitely visible. If you compare this project to Most Likely Drop a Mixtape, the first one that you did, it's a huge contrast, especially because you hear yourself rapping fast in those verses and everything, but when it comes to the slower melodic tracks and shit like that, there's a big difference. Especially on this one, you kind of learn to slow it down, pay a little more attention to your production and features, and not just worrying about, you know, how fast you can rap and shit.
yeah, exactly.
Alright, so obviously this project is bangers, like heavy. There's no slow tracks on the project at all. There's
No, not really.
Not really.
They're meant to be like exciting, like to get you like it's meant to be a track to like waste time in traffic. When you're sitting in traffic and you need something to feel to try and like go throughout your work day or something to connect to, like that's what the music was meant for me to like lay down as something that like isn't boring to put you to sleep, but is meant to like captivate you enough to like inspire some sort of feeling.
Yeah, it's the kind of music you can almost listen to anytime. It's not like to say it's the music that you're gonna cry to or you're gonna like laugh to or get angry to or do anything to, but it's like the kind of music you can listen to while feeling any of those emotions. You know, you can just throw it on and like you can rage to it. Like, yeah, you could cry to it if you want. Like you can, you know what I mean? Like you can do whatever, but like it's just like, you know, that kind of music that it's like there's lots of different sounds, but the whole thing, like Kai said, is like it's just really exciting.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. Was just making something that was like poppy, really like in your face, and you're just like.
Yeah, every track comes with a different flow kind of thing too. They're all like really diverse. You guys aren't putting the same tracks on every single one. You practically switch up genres on one of them.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for one of the songs is like. I don't know. I think it was just a really big stretch of a genre. I think it's a really aggressive stretch of trap music into like punk rock. It's like punk rock trap.
It sounds a lot like something that Machine Gun Kelly would be making right now.
I feel like yeah, more or less just take trappy, like really like trappy drums over some punk rock guitars, with like some like normal sounding snares and shit.
It should just make you move. If you stay still while our music's on, you're weird. Just turn it on.
Okay.
That's not new for you either, though, Kai. You've been doing that for a long time. It just seems that none of it's getting worked out.
Yeah, for a minute now, but that's soon to come. Just have to do the right things with the right songs. You feel me? Yeah, it's all about curating like the best possible music, because I feel like if I can't listen back to a song 100 times and still enjoy it, then like I don't actually really like the song, you feel me?
Yeah.
If I don't want to memorize every word to it, then I don't like the music. So like that's for me a big thing, is like if I'm listening to every single sound inside one of my beats, like if I can't listen to that 100 times, I don't like it. If I can't listen to another person's song 100 times, then I don't like it. And if I don't want to memorize the words as soon as I hear it, then like it's not one of my favorite songs. So for me, like that's a huge thing, is to get that past my own head. It's like I need to like fall in love with it. You feel me? Before I want to be able to play it to like another 100 people, another 200 people, 1,000 people.
Yeah. Did you tell Cam, you were like, yo, we gotta switch it up?
Only for one song. For one song, I was like, switch the hook and the verse. That was it. And everything else, he completely fucking slapped. I was actually blown away.
Are you talking about like this one we were recording and shit?
Yeah. I was prepared for it, like. I was really prepared to like say like, bro, this has to go so fucking crazy, man. Like a lot of the beats where I was in love with, and he was like, bro, I'm gonna kill it. He pulled up and just absolutely slaughtered them. And I was like, fuck, like.
Yeah, I know how much of a perfectionist Kai is. So like, I knew that when he was sending me beats for a project, they were gonna be beats that meant a lot to him. So I took a lot of time into like, you know, thinking about what I was gonna write and like actually treating them as songs that we wanted to take to the studio and record for a project, not just like, you know, write a little bit here, write a little there. It was like, nah, like if I was sitting down and writing the song, I was crunching the whole track in a day, and I was actually, again, making sure I was locked into it and like thinking about every word that I wrote down, right? Because again, I know how Kai is, and I knew that Kai would have me switching around everything. He'd be like this, that, this. So I was like, nah, I'm just gonna try to make it as perfect as I can the first time. And again, that's where me and Kai work well together, because when we put our like honest efforts in towards creating shit together, we do vibe really well together. Like.
Yeah, it was the only song was Seeing Was Believing, I think. Seeing is Believing,
yeah.
And then, yeah, for that track I just said like switch the hook and the verse. That was it. That was the only thing. Everything else was like pure organic. He came with a book for me. For the whole thing.
He knows exactly
the whole book.
Yeah, no, again, like it seems weird at first, like switch the verse and make it the hook, but it sounded good, and now it's like better off that way. At first, again, like I'm never sure of these things at first, but I am sure because I always trust Kai's, like, you know, what he thinks is gonna be best. So.
Yeah, I think you added a different section too.
Yeah, we definitely mixed it up from there.
Like, yo, I have this piece. And then sauced it.
Yeah, you're definitely not an artist that necessarily like sticks to one flow and then never touches anything else. Like you definitely explore different things. Is that something that you want to like show off on this project, or did it just coincidentally happen?
That's something I'm always trying to show off, man. Honest, because especially with a project, I think every track should have like a totally different sound. Because you could be like, I don't know, I don't want to name names, but you could be like an artist that's making a very similar sound amongst a lot of your songs, but if it's a sound that happens to be, you know, like that hard and it's popping like that and your style is dope like that, and you know what I mean? Like if you've got that in your sound and it's that people are gonna roll with, then yeah, people will rock with it and you'll catch your wave and you'll do your thing for a little bit, and then honestly I think you'll fade out. But when you make a lot of, you know, alternative different sounds and you explore a lot of different sounds, you can appeal to a lot of different people, and that's where like what we were saying earlier in terms of, you know, one person's sound can be something like Kai sends me something that's my favorite, and then the other beat is his favorite, but then a totally other beat is going to be what people are listening to our music's favorite is, right? So like, I don't know, again, everyone just has a totally different opinion on what music is, and like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So if you have this sound, this sound, this sound, and this sound on a project, and someone listens to the project, there's more of a chance that they like one of those songs than you just like catching a vibe on your one sound across the whole project, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I just like to explore different shit, and like also with just being like, you know, a little white boy, I need to show my skill and my ability musically, because that's what I do really, is create. Like that's the edge I have out here, is I make good music, bro, you know.
That leads me into our next topic. What are you trying to prove with this one?
What kind of question is that?
I don't have to prove anything.
I'm not trying to prove anything, yo. I'm just trying to get my music out there and, you know, get people to understand the messages we're trying to persuade, and just get people rocking with us. I think, again, when people hear our music, they'll like it. I think when most people hear our music, they fuck with it, because, again, we have different sounds, we have different styles, and our shit's poppy, and that's what we focus on, is just making music that appeals to everybody, to lots of different people. So I think, like, people like our music, right? We're not trying to prove anything. It's just we're trying to get our music out there to enough people that we have an audience, and, you know, we're just trying to gain a following. But musically, I don't feel like we need to prove anything. I think we're making great music.
Trying to prove that 808s are an awesome instrument.
Yeah.
Instrument.
Trying to prove that we can break your mirror in your car with our music.
Your rearview mirror isn't shaking, and it was probably mixed wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, obviously... Fuck, I just lost my thought. Sorry.
Do you have a question, or?
Here, I'll start with this. Kai,
He's smoking.
you trying to
Flush
anything on this one?
808s are an awesome instrument.
Yeah, it's an awesome.
Everybody should know what an 808 is. It's like the bass sound inside of a song.
It's the boom.
It sits like it's its own specific instrument. And it goes boom.
Yeah, that's the first thing I teach all my girlfriends.
Yes.
Like, oh, Shardy, you know what an 808 is?
Yes.
If you don't, I
Just
don't
need
know
it.
about that.
No.
So, obviously we've been stuck in COVID-19 for a long time now.
We're gonna be stuck for a while.
Yeah, unfortunately. How has this affected you guys as artists specifically, especially since this project was
Locked
filmed in
my
the middle of
ass in.
Corona?
Locked me.
Corona.
It locked me in, made me help me make a song. Yeah, a song that I made called Sippin' Rvms in Corona.
I love that song.
It's a pretty fun song.
It's amazing.
I don't fucking like COVID.
Corona's pretty funny in COVID.
You obviously have more time because Kai, you kind of just sat inside and made beats all day
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, are a little social butterfly and you need to fly around all the time. So you definitely got a lot more time to write and think over beats. Has that affected your lyrics and your flow in this one?
No, I don't think it's affected. I think I put a lot more time and thought into like my lyrics now, but I don't know if that has to do with like COVID in the world, or if that just has to do with how much time, like how long I've been writing for now, and how many lyrics I've just, you know, drained out of my brain. Like I feel like I when you first start making music, it's just super easy to just write because it's like creatively everything you've ever thought of, and you can just, you know, like
Yeah.
just get all your previous emotions and thoughts out.